through filing lawsuits, basically. Joining us now is the head of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Thanks for being with us, Tom, and thanks for your great work for all these years.
I appreciate the good word, Howie. Good to be with you now.
Thanks. So let's talk first about what can President Trump declassify? What can he do in his last 2 weeks in office? Can he get anything done? And where's the D&I report, by the way, on foreign election interference?
Well, those are good questions. I think the likelihood of anything significant being done is not significant at this point because of the political atmosphere in this town. I think the deep state has been ignoring the president to date, largely on issues of transparency, and I think they'll be emboldened because of the rioting yesterday.
So there's not going to be any declassification of all these documents about the Russian collusion hoax, the Ukrainian hoax, etc.
I don't think there is going to be a massive declassification. No, I mean there may be some more documents that come out that are already in process, but Judicial Watch has been asking for this stuff for years, and we've been getting a runaround, and we're just going to have to keep on pursuing it. Unfortunately for us, the way the Justice Department, the State Department, and the other agencies have been acting, it was no different from Obama. It just continued under the Trump administration. His appointees didn't care about transparency, more or less. And, things will just continue under Joe Biden. I don't expect the things to get much worse, although I'm sure they will. But, things won't change much for Judicial Watch in terms of our battles for transparency, that's for sure.
Now, what about the Justice Department? He will, of course, replace all of the U.S. attorneys and all of the higher ups in the Justice Department who were appointed by Trump. Is this going to make it harder to prosecute some of these political crimes that have been occurring? For instance, the Hunter Biden laptop investigation. I would assume that's going to go away. But I mean, how could they just deep six it? Is that what they'll do? Are they going to be that direct, or are they going to let it drag out and say we can't comment on an ongoing investigation like they do? Come to think of it, like they do already.
Well, on the Biden issue, they need a special counsel. There's, under the rules that they cited in appointing the Mueller special counsel, there is strong need for a special counsel to investigate Biden. I don't like special counsels, practically speaking, but that's the law of the land, we're being told, right? So this is the standard, and now Joe Biden needs a special counsel on his corruption issues involving his family. But on these other issues, we couldn't get the Trump administration to prosecute anyone. I don't know why we would expect the Biden administration to prosecute their own.
When Bill Barr resigned, some people said that the reason he was resigning is because he didn't want to appoint a special counsel to look into Hunter Biden, and that this would open the way for his replacement to appoint a special counsel. You don't see any truth to that, to those reports or that speculation?
No, the Justice Department interfered in the Biden investigation this year and last. They suppressed it. They didn't let it go forward for political reasons. And there's no reason to think they're going to do the right thing now. Unless the president directly orders them to do it. And I don't know if we can do that or not at this point.
Yeah. I would certainly love to see a special prosecutor appointed. I mean, I think everybody. And how about a special prosecutor to investigate election fraud?
I'd have a special prosecutor. I'd have 4 special prosecutors.
Okay, who?
Obamagate.
Yeah, that's Russian collusion.
Hillary Clinton still. There's still crimes with Hillary Clinton that need to be prosecuted and audited. Election issues like you highlight, and the Biden.
But Hillary Clinton, how about the statute of limitations there?
Doesn't run till this year.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the Justice Department, your listeners should know, the Justice Department under Barr was protecting Hillary Clinton. And they right now are in court trying to shut down any ability we have to get information about what went on there. So they've been protecting her. And so, It's been frustrating to us. We've been able to do a lot despite the objections. So, I know people are upset about, the change in administration, politically and otherwise. And the problem is that the justice wasn't done under the Trump administration for reasons we could get into for years and years. We can talk for hours and hours on. And so, things aren't going to change as much as people think in terms of the challenges we have for accountability.
I was thinking of asking you not to depress people off before you came on the air, just telling you that. But I mean, what you just said is even in a way is even more depressing than what I thought you might be saying about how bad things were going to get. But you're saying things are so bad already that they can't get much worse.
That's right. I mean, Joe Biden got a pass. He's probably going to continue to get a pass. Hunter Biden may face criminal liability, but that was true for 2 years, and we'll see how that turns out. The Obama gang that was behind the spying on Trump, they're coming back in and getting promotions. So we can expect that. We should be worried about the IRS again because that was abused under Obama, with no accountability for that. So there are a lot of issues to worry about, but, all we can do is what we can do. There are challenges. Judicial Watch knows what to do. I mean, we were able to expose what went on with Clinton. We pressured so much in the way of, the Justice. We pressured the Justice Department through our educational efforts that resulted, frankly, in Mueller having to be shut down because it was clearly abusive what he was doing. So a lot of good things come when you have independent civic organizations holding the government accountable to the law. And, our work is now needed more than ever since there'll be virtually, Congress obviously isn't going to hold the Biden administration accountable generally, and the media is in the tank for Biden as well. So we're just going to have to do a lot more heavy lifting, that's for sure. But we're happy to do it.
We're speaking to Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch. Where can people go if they want to get involved with Judicial Watch, read up on your reports, make a contribution, whatever?
They can go to judicialwatch.org, judicialwatch.org. We got dozens of lawsuits, Howie. We've got lawsuits pending to clean up the election rolls in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Colorado. We just have to keep on, using the law as we're able to under our glorious Constitution to make sure, things are done right.
You talked about the elections and the impeachment, and President Trump seemed to have pretty good lawyers ultimately in the Russia hoax and in the Ukraine hoax. I mean, he swatted aside Mueller eventually, and the Ukrainian mess wasn't as serious. But why didn't he have good lawyers or lawyers who could get the job done before the election to clean up this mess? It looks like the Trump campaign, in spite of spending millions of dollars, got caught flat-footed. Whereas Mark Elias and the Perkins Coie people and all the Democrats and Stacey Abrams were just running these I don't know what you'd call them, these feints at these states, these Republican-controlled states, getting them to change the rules, and the Republicans stood by and watched it happen. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, it was better than it was in the past. They did stop a lot of bad things from happening. So for everything that people are complaining about now, it could have been a lot worse. But the left had essentially unlimited resources to pursue this litigation, hundreds of lawsuits. I think it was nearly 200. And they were able to change the rules. And I'm not talking just about the states at issue. I'm talking about in other states too. I mean, if you think you have voter ID in your state and millions of people are voting by mail, that means you really don't have voter ID in your state for practical purposes. Because if you vote by mail, there's no voter ID, I think, in all but 2 states. So Georgia has voter ID, for instance, if you show up and vote in person, but no voter ID if you vote by mail.
Good Lord.
So how do you like them apples? I mean, that's a national problem. So if there's anything we learn, if there's anything that we can pursue after this, among other things, is the recognition that vote by mail is incompatible with clean and fair elections and elections that people can have confidence.
What are the odds of getting rid of the fraudulent mail-in voting that we now have in the United States? What are the chances of getting rid of it by 2022 or 2024?
We could get some reforms between now and then. There are many states that are controlled by folks with a conservative outlook who believe in election integrity. But I think we should be working to ensure that our elections are run according to law and the Constitution, have integrity in the sense that people, we know who's voting, we know that the person who's voting is the person who's voting, and that they're eligible to vote. Now, the left opposes that, and I think the left opposes that because they want to be able to steal elections when necessary. That's what I believe.
Why would you oppose it unless you wanted to steal elections? That's the only reason to oppose it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they pretend that asking for someone's ID is voter suppression. It's just absurd. No one really believes that except these hardcore leftists, and their rules are, in Pennsylvania, no voter ID. New Jersey, no voter ID. Illinois, no voter ID. I'm sure there's no voter ID in Massachusetts. California, no voter ID. Voter ID is not the law of the land. Far from it. Even when states where there is voter ID, it's pretty weak. You could show up with a utility bill and that counts as voter ID.
I know. I just moved my voting to Florida, and I had to produce a driver's license for the first time I could remember. I've always voted in Massachusetts. What was the problem? You have to produce a voter ID to go on a plane, right?
Yeah, I mean, our voter ID laws are backwards, and vote by mail obviously is incompatible with secure elections, in my view. And they're a menace. They're a menace to free and fair elections.
One last question: why are Gina Haspel and Christopher Wray still employed?
Oh, I think the president would have fired them all. I just think the lawyers get in the way and tell them you can't do it. There's always political reasons for not doing it, And if you're the president, you're thinking, how many people? What am I supposed to do? Fire my cabinet every 3 months?
Yeah,
I would suggest yes if they're not doing their job. But that's politically, that's easy for me to say.
Right, exactly. Okay, Tom Fitton, thanks for being with us.
Ray has been a disaster. Ray has been a disaster.
Oh,
Ray has been a disaster.
Absolutely. What's your address again? Your web address?
Judicialwatch.org, judicialwatch.org. And currently we're on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all that. But the Great Suppression, I think, will eventually remove pretty much all major conservative groups.
Well, there are some alternatives in some various, but they're not as mass, obviously. But good luck, Tom, and we'll stay in touch with you. And you've done a great job, and keep doing it. Thank you. Hit refresh on your dinner routine in 2021 with HelloFresh. Right now, you can take advantage of their limited time New Year's sale and see why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Perhaps you're trying to vary your diet a little bit, not go with the same stuff, the same calorie-laden, carbohydrate-laden, not too healthy alternatives that you do during the course of the year when you're working through the week. HelloFresh is a way to get simple recipes and fresh new ingredients sourced directly from growers and delivered to your door contact-free. With more than 23 weekly recipes, there's something for everyone to enjoy, including family-friendly, vegetarian, and low-calorie options. So no matter who's stopping by, you can order, and you can order something from HelloFresh that will keep everyone who comes to your house happy with their meals. Say goodbye to never-ending meal planning and prepping. HelloFresh recipe cards are easy to follow with simple steps and pictures. All of us at the Howie Carr Show have used them, and we're all very satisfied. The meals are delicious, and again, it's
my favorite part, Howie, is that I don't have to go shopping. I hate grocery shopping, and unless there's a picture in front of me of what my wife wants me to get, I get the wrong thing. This takes out all of that because
Yep.
they deliver everything to you.
I used to love grocery shopping, Taylor. Now, not so much. The masks are just
That's
the
another
beginning of it.
reason. Yeah.
Plus, by skipping the grocery store, you could save up to 40% on groceries, cut food waste by 25%, and save time so you have more time to spend with your loved ones. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals across 4 boxes, including free shipping on your first box during HelloFresh's New Year sale. For a limited time only, go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals. HelloFresh.com. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.